Welcome. Today we are going to see about the equation of DC motor and generator equation of a generator, characteristics of motors and types of DC machines. Generated EMF or EMF equation of a generator. Generated EMF Eg is equal to EMF generated in any one of the parallel path. In previous classes we have seen about a single loop generator. In such generator, the EMF generator in one of the parallel path is present, but in real generators which are used to power the houses and commercial loads, such generators have a large number of parallel paths and their ratings are very high. For such generators, we are going to see the EMF equation. The average EMF generated per conductor is equal to d pi by dt. Here, the n refers to 1, which means the number of coils present in the generator is 1. Here, the d pi by dt term represents the change in flux with respect to time. Now, flux cut per conductor in one revolution d pi is equal to pi p Webers. Here, the flux generated with respect to time, that is the flux alone d pi, is equal to pi p Webers. Here the pi represents flux and p represents the number of poles present in the generator, and number of revolutions per second is represented by n divided by 60. Here n represents armature rotation in revolution per minute and it is divided by 60 to get RPS. Time for one revolution dt is equal to 60 divided by n, whereas now we are going to substitute d pi, which is pi p Weber, and dt, which is equal to 60 by n, in this equation. So hence, according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, the EMF generated per conductor is d pi divided by dt, which is this one, which will be equivalent to d pi is nothing but pi p Webers, and for dt, which is nothing but 60 divided by n, so you will get pi p n divided by 60 volt. In general, generated EMF Eg of a DC generator is equivalent to pi Zn divided by 60 into P by A volt. Here, the A represents a number of parallel paths in an armature. So, let us go in deep. Here, there are two types of windings. One is lap winding and another one is wave winding. So, if a DC machine is present, then the DC machine has two types of winding. We need to know which type of winding is being used to wound the machine. So, lap winding has a different formula and wave winding has a different formula, not a big difference, only a very little difference. Let us see. For lap winding, the number of parallel path is A is equal to P. Okay, so for lap winding, you need to substitute the number of parallel path A is equal to P, where P, which represents the number of poles present in the generator or a motor, whereas the number of conductors in one path is denoted as Z divided by P. Here Z is the number of conductors and P is the number of poles. So the generated EMF Eg is equal to pi Pn divided by 60 into Z by P volts. Here you can see the term A, that is the number of parallel paths, is represented by P over here. So for lap winding you should substitute A is equal to number of poles present in the generator. For wave winding, the number of parallel path A is equal to 2. So this is the difference between lap winding and wave winding. For lap winding A is equal to P, whereas for wave winding A is equal to 2. And the number of conductors in one path is equal to Z divided by 2 for wave winding. On the same time, the generated EMF Eg is equal to pi Pn divided by 60 into Z by 2, where the 2 term is referred to as A, which is the number of parallel paths present in the generator. For wave winding you should substitute 2. For lap winding you should substitute number of poles present in the generator. Next we are going to see about some concepts about DC motor. So first we need to know the significance of back EMF. An electrical motor is a machine which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. So in a motor you need to supply electrical energy, whereas the motor will give you an output of mechanical energy by rotating its shaft. So we need to know such a basic thing, its magnitude, that is the shaft rotation magnitude or the power developed present in the shaft, which is denoted by F is equal to BIL newtons. When motor armature rotates, conductors also rotates and hence cut the flux. We know that the armature is rotating. In the armature of the motor there will be some conductors. So these conductors will also be rotating within the motor. So what happens here is, due to Faraday's law, the armature conductors experience a cut in magnetic flux due to the rotation of armature conductors. So an EMF is induced in them whose direction is found by Fleming's right hand rule. So these rotating armature conductors will cut the flux. This causes an induced EMF being produced in the armature itself, and its direction is in a reverse direction, which can be induced by Fleming's right hand rule, or the direction can be found by Fleming's right hand rule. EMF induced is in opposite to the applied voltage. So if you see, the applied voltage is V, whereas the back EMF generated EB is in the reverse direction of the applied voltage, since the current IA is flowing inside, whereas the back EMF EB is getting its current from opposing the voltage V. Because of its opposing direction, it is referred to as counter EMF or back EMF EB. Rotating armature generates back EMF, which is like a battery of EMF EB put across a supply voltage V. Here you can see this figure. This is the voltage you applied for the motor over here, and this motor, this is the armature of the motor, and this armature of the motor is represented as a battery, and this battery is back EMF EB, and this back EMF will like to give an opposition to the supply voltage V. So V has, that is the supply voltage V, has to drive the current IA against the opposition of EB. So the supply voltage V should drive the current, that is the armature current, into the motor by opposing this back EMF EB. The power required to overcome this opposition is known as EBIA. Here, this is the power which is the mechanical power developed by the motor, and this is denoted in terms of electrical quantity as EB into IA, where EB is the back EMF in voltage and IA is the armature current in amperes. So the net armature current IA will be equivalent to net voltage divided by resistance. Here the net voltage is V minus EB divided by RA. Here V is the supply voltage and EB is the back EMF, and RA denotes the armature resistance of the armature windings. Next, we are going to see about the voltage equation of a motor. So here is a motor. This is a DC shunt motor. The voltage V applied across the motor armature has to overcome the back EMF EB and the supply the armature ohmic drop IaRa. So this is a shunt motor. Don't worry what is a shunt motor, we will see in the types. Okay, this is a shunt motor. You are going to supply the voltage V into this motor. Here the current, that is the load current, that's the supply current I, is going to be fed into the motor, whereas this current is divided into two parts, where it is going to drive the shunt field as well as the armature. So while doing so, the total current I has two opposition, one against the armature EB and the other one is the shunt field current ISH, and the other one is the IaRa drop, that is the drop across the armature. So these two things the voltage has to overcome. So we can define the total voltage V which is supplied, which is greater. So you are going to V will be equivalent to EB plus IaRa. So this voltage V will be higher when compared to the back EMF. So V will be equal to EB, whereas IaRa is the ohmic drop present in the armature. Multiplying both sides by Ia. Why we need to multiply Ia on both sides? We are going to derive the voltage equation of a motor. So what we are going to do here is multiply Ia on both sides of this equation. We get VIA is equal to EBIA plus Ia square RA. Here you can see VIA is the electrical input power to the armature. So the power applied to the motor in terms of electrical quantity is represented as VIA, whereas EBIA is the electrical equivalent of mechanical power developed in the armature. So the armature is rotating, so the shaft is rotating, so the motor is running. So the mechanical power which is developed by the motor is represented in electrical equivalent, and this is nothing but EBIA. And the next term I squared RA, this is the ohmic drop, that is the copper loss present in the armature. Some of the armature inputs is wasted in I square R loss. It is not I2 R loss, it is I square R loss, and the rest is converted into mechanical power. So the loss which is present in the armature is a ohmic loss, and it is in terms of I square RA, and the rest of the power is developed as a mechanical power. Motor efficiency is given by the ratio of power developed by armature to its input. So the ratio, that is the efficiency, is always output by input. So here the output is the mechanical power developed, whereas the input is the voltage. So what we can say here is the power, that is the mechanical power output, is EBIA, which will be equivalent to power input, which is V minus Ia. So we can cancel these two terms Ia and you get Eb divided by V. Next we are going to see the condition for maximum power developed by a DC motor. We know VIA equal to EBIA plus I squared RA. Here the mechanical power developed by the motor is PM, which is equivalent to VIA minus IA squared RA. Here from this equation you know this is the mechanical power developed by the motor, which is EBIA. So this term is known as PM. So if this term is kept here and I squared RA term is made there, then you get PM is equal to VIA minus IA squared RA. Now we are going to differentiate both sides with respect to Ia and equate the result to 0. So why we are doing here is we are going to find the maximum power that can be delivered, that can be observed from the motor. So to do this we are going to differentiate both sides with Ia. So here dPm divided by dIa will give you, here the Ia is a constant so it will be left out, V minus here I squared A becomes 2Ia and Ra, which will be equivalent to 0, which is equal result to 0. Okay, so you are making like this. After this what we are going to do is remove this term. V minus 2Ia Ra is equal to 0. So what we get here is V is equal to 2Ia Ra, and what we are going here is Ia Ra is equal to V divided by 2. Next we are going to substitute in this above equation. V is equal to Eb plus Ia Ra is the general motor equation. Now we are going to substitute Ia Ra is equal to V by 2 here. So what you get is V is equal to Eb plus V by 2. So Eb, that is the back EMF, is equal to V by 2. So the gross mechanical power developed by a motor is maximum when back EMF Eb is equivalent to half the applied voltage V. So the back EMF Eb should be half the applied voltage. At this condition you will get the maximum power delivered by the motor. Next we are going to see the types of DC machines. Generators are usually classified according to the way in which their field are excited. So here the machines represent the generator or a motor. Okay, both are same. Okay, DC machine represent both motor and generator is referred to as a machine. Okay, so both the machines are classified according to the way in which the field is excited. First we will be seeing about separately excited DC machine. Here you can see this is the armature of the motor and this one is the field winding. Instead of permanent magnets which are being used, we are going to use an electromagnet. So electromagnets can be produced by supplying voltage to the coil. So this is a separately excited DC machine. You can see this one is a DC generator and this machine is a DC motor. You can see here the field winding is separately excited by a battery source. In previous cases we have studied a single loop generator in which we will be using a permanent magnet to provide the field flux. In case of a real machine we will be using an electromagnet. So to make this coil as a magnet you need to supply voltage. So to do this the coil will become an electromagnet and produces magnetic flux in which the armature will be present and it will be rotating as a motor or a generator principle. Here you can see there are two figures. This is one for generator and this one for motor. Both look similar. The only difference is you can see here in generator the armature is producing power, which means you are inputting a mechanical energy and you are delivering an electrical energy as the output from the generator. So you can see the current I is being delivered out into the load. Whereas for DC motor, here the back EMF is present. Instead of generating EMF, here the back EMF EB is present. Here for the motor you need to supply the electrical energy, that is the battery, and the motor will be delivering an output of mechanical energy. So the electrical energy is supplied with the help of a battery and the current is flowing into the motor, whereas in here the current is delivered by the generator to the load. Machine field magnets are energized from an independent external source of DC current or permanent magnet is being used. So in this case, in self-excited or in separately excited, the field windings are excited with the help of a DC source. Here you can see the equation, that is the generated EMF EG is greater, so EG is equal to V plus IaRa. So this generated EMF will produce the generated voltage, whereas this voltage will be greater, and so you will get the voltage which is present here, that is the terminal voltage, plus IaRa drops which is present in the armature. Whereas in motor case, the load voltage that you are going to supply, that is the battery voltage you are going to supply to the motor, will be greater than the back EMF. So V will be equivalent to EB plus IaRa. So this battery has to deliver the current to the back EMF as well as to the armature ohmic drop IaRa. Next we are going to see about shunt wound DC machines. Here in the shunt wound DC machine, the field winding is being connected in parallel with the armature conductor and full voltage is applied across the field winding. Here this is the armature and this is the field winding. Both the armature and the field winding is being connected in parallel, and this parallel combination is connected to the load. Here this figure represents the DC generator, whereas in this figure you can see the DC machine is connected to a DC motor. Here the shunt field and the armature is in parallel, so it is known as shunt motor. Similarly, you can see the battery is being used to supply power to the motor, whereas in this figure, this configuration, the generated EMF, that is EG, is present. So you can see the DC machine is delivering, that is the DC generator is delivering current IL to the load. So both the machines are same. Okay, while the only concept here is, if you supply electrical energy into the machine, it will act as a motor. Okay, if you supply mechanical energy in the armature of the machine, it will act as a generator and gives out electrical energy as output. That's the concept. Okay, here the DC generator, you can see this is the armature current, this is the shunt field current, and this one is the load current. Here the armature current will be high because you are going to generating the EMF using a generator, so the armature current IA will be higher. So IA will be equivalent to the load current plus the shunt field current. You can apply Kirchhoff's current law, whereas for DC motor you are going to provide the voltage source. You have to give power to the motor. In this case, the applied voltage will be more, so the load current will be more. So IL will be equivalent to IA plus ISH. Here IA is the armature current and ISH is the shunt field current. Whereas in terms of voltage equations, you get the voltage, that is the terminal voltage over here, V will be equivalent to EG minus IaRa, because the generated EMF EG is more, whereas the ohmic drop should be differenced from the generated EMF. You will get the terminal voltage V across the load. Whereas in case of a DC motor, the voltage which you are going to supply to the motor is more, whereas in case this voltage has to give power, which has to drive the back EMF as well as the armature drop IaRa. So V is equal to EB plus IaRa. The next type of machine is a DC series machine or series wound DC machine. Okay, in this case, the only difference is the field resistance, that is the field coils, are connected in series with the armature, and this figure represents the DC generator and this figure represents the DC motor. Here in DC generator, the voltage is being delivered to the load, that is the current is being delivered to the load, and the terminal voltage is V and the generated EMF is EG. Whereas in DC motor you need to supply power to the motor, whereas the terminal voltage is V and the current feed into the motor is IL. Here you can see both the armature and the series field are in series. You can say the armature current will be equivalent to load current, and which will be equivalent to ISE. Okay, here the ISE term represents the current flowing through the series field. The current IA, current through series field, as well as the current through the load, all will be same. So you can get the voltage equation V is equal to EG minus IA RSE, whereas for motor you will get the equation V is equal to EB plus IaRa, whereas the V is the battery voltage, EB is the back EMF, and IaRSE is the drop across the series field resistance. Next we are going to see about the characteristics of motor. We have seen there are two types of motors. One is DC shunt motor, DC series motor, and separately excited motor. Here the separately excited motors are not common in use. We will be using DC series and shunt motors for many purposes. First we will see what are all the classifications. The first classification is torque and armature current. That is, the characteristics of a motor is being defined by the current rating, voltage rating, the speed rating, and the torque produced by the motor. So depending on these parameters, the characteristics of the motor are being made. So what we are going to do here is we are having torque versus armature current is defined as electrical characteristics. Speed and armature current is known as N divided by Ia characteristics, whereas speed and torque characteristics is referred to as mechanical characteristics. Here the torque and armature current is denoted by TA divided by Ia, whereas the speed and armature current is denoted by N divided by Ia, whereas the speed and torque characteristic which is represented by N divided by TA. So you need to know in common the torque which is produced in the armature by a motor will be directly proportional to the flux as well as the current present in the armature. At the same time, the speed of the motor, that is the armature speed, that is the shaft speed of the motor N, is directly proportional to EB divided by flux. First, we will be seeing the characteristics of a shunt motor. Here, this is the electrical characteristics, which is TA by IA characteristics. This is the x-axis and this one is the y-axis. You need to plot the current along, that is the armature current along x-axis and the developed torque along y-axis. Then you can plot the graph. Then you will get the armature torque TA over here and the shaft torque TSH over here. Similarly, for shunt motor, the speed by IA characteristics, you need to plot the current in x-axis, armature current in x-axis and speed in y-axis. Then you will get the graph like this. Next, we are going to plot the mechanical characteristics, which is nothing but speed in y-axis and armature torque in x-axis. While plotting these things, you will get a graph like this. Here, you can see the speed and the torque. For shunt motor, the speed is constant. Okay, if you see, it is a slanting line, but this slanting line is approximately constant. Okay, so for DC shunt motors, the speed is constant and the application of DC shunt motor is being used for constant drive machines such as escalators, elevators, or some fans, blowers, etc. So if you need to run a belt or a fan or something in a constant speed, you need to use a DC shunt motor. Whereas the characteristics of DC series motors are, here this one is the electrical characteristics. Here the current IA is plotted in x-axis and the torque in y-axis. You will get some bend over here and this is the DC series motor. For speed by armature current characteristics, you will get different characteristics like this. This is for mechanical characteristics. You can see the torque in x-axis and speed in y-axis. Here this curve represents the torque is maximum, the speed is minimum, and the torque is minimum, the speed is maximum. So this characteristics is very much required for traction. So the traction term represents it is being used for railways. So the compartments and the engines which are using electrical motors for driving the train, we need to use a DC series motor for electrical traction. So why we are using here is, you can see that torque developed by the motor is very high at the initial when the speed is minimum. So when the train is at rest, so you are going to start the train at initial time, the speed of the train is minimum, uh, whereas the torque present or developed by the motor is very high. At the same time, when you come here, you can see the speed developed by the motor is very high, whereas the torque becomes minimum. So this ideal characteristic is very much useful for electric traction. So all the trains or all the electrical trains which are being produced are made up of DC series motor. So today we have seen about the characteristics of DC machines, EMF equation of generator, voltage equation of a motor, and some classifications of DC machines. Thank you.